Hi there, my name is John Skippy Limcool, and I'm going to give you a tour of the power pack I've created for Absynth 5. Make sure that you have the latest version of Absynth 5. They've just changed the file format, so if you have a version before version 5.1, these patches won't work. So make sure you have the latest version. There's detailed instructions in a file with these patches that tells you exactly where to put the patches as well as the samples, because there's a folder of samples that you need to put into where Absynth stores its samples. So the basic concept for this library was to reinvent Absynth to make it usable in all sorts of today's music productions. I've got pads and stuff, I'll show you those in a minute, but I wanted to make all sorts of stuff you could call up to use as the heart of a song. Some really cool basses, some really cool pads, some really cool rhythmic stuff, all sorts of things. So we're gonna go to the browser and hit sounds, and I'm just gonna play sounds. One thing that's important to point out is on the performance page, controllers, there's a lot of sliders assigned to a lot of important parameters that you can change to customize these patches. So I'm going to show you some of that as we go through these patches too. So let's get started right up here. This is actually an EG buzzer. So it's got an envelope generator that's pulsing. If you don't want the pulsing, you can either have the filter wide open or have this open, and that turns it off also. It warps. This patch is using some samples along with the triangle waveform. When you go through the factory voicing, there is no basses like this that are just basic. The EG sustain level. Oh, and I've got also so you can make all sorts of cool. Remember, basses and leads are interchangeable. So sometimes cool lead sounds make cool basses. Sometimes basses make cool lead sounds. So make sure you use them for both purposes. It's one of my favorite patches, actually. If I remember everything to do to this. The third oscillator is hidden. So these are made for warping. It's important. That's one of my main philosophies with this, is make it musical and give you tons of control. All right, so this is one of my favorite patches by far, because I'm a fan of deadmau5. It's got some cool stuff going on, right? And I wanted to try to recreate something where you could do those types of things. And I actually found that you've got the ability on the envelope page, every one of these envelope segments can be assigned to a slider, so that I have one set of sliders for the top up pulses, and I have another slider for the down pulses. So by doing that, you can easily, go back and forth between the two. And then the filter cutoff. It's all the way it open. And the filters on Absynth are killer. Now this is one of the dubstep basses, and I've set this up so that there's a slider on the mod wheel for the speeds, and it's tempo locked. A lot of the libraries I've seen, they're not tempo locked. So when you go and change your tempo, if you're not doing exactly what everybody's doing it, right now it's 140 beats per minute, but what in the future if it changes tempos, they don't change. So you have to go in and find out how to. Anyway, I set it up so that it's brain dead simple. You just off you go. And also it's very easy to find the oscillator you want to change, hit this button, and here's all the waveform. A ton to play with. So we're going to go from basses. Let's move on to bells. Skippy loves bells. And again, there's hooks to change this to a billion different bell sounds. So there you go. Then we get to the BPMs. These are all tempo synced. They go all over the place. These are big pad things. All the way to, this is a single note. Here's the pitch. So if you take the time, you can go in and change this to be different pitches to make different melodies when you play one note. Recovering soul. And that high pitchy thing is tempo synced. So as you change tempo, it will follow along with you. Let's see, there's some keyboard stuff. Never thought Absynth would do pianos, but it can. And in some of them, like Reflection Pool, is just... There's slow piano parts where you play... It's got following. Then we get to the leads. Almost delicate like is not delicate. Almost. Sweetness. So sweet. Great sound. And this is Absynth, so the pads rock. And again, there's hooks in here to change this. Into sounds you've never heard before. Nice stuff, you know? This is similar in vibe to a patch I made for the Korg Oasis. For the plucked string, there's a thing called White Lightning that's like this. It's got that really nice high frequency brightness to it. If you layer this with horns and strings and different... I'll play the filtering. So we got you covered for more than just dancey stuff. You gotta have the mellow, cool stuff too. Praying monks for the... and simple. All right, so you see we got lots of pads, and there's more and more and more and more and more. This is cool. This is THX for the big. And you've got, slowly goes out of tune over time. You've got all sorts of hooks to change that around too. Then we get to some of the pluck stuff. There's also rain harp for the. So as you can see, there's tons of stuff. Oh, here we go to some special effects. There's some transitions for the. There's all sorts of cool synthy things. It's amazing how useful simple sounds like that are. Nintendo bots for the Nintendo guys. There's so many different synth patches. I'm just going to go quickly through a couple others. There's cool voice things. A couple lead wind kind of things. With nice long canyon delays and stuff. Now, real quickly, I want to show you one more thing about this power pack, and that's the effects side of things. Absynth can be used as an incredibly mind-blowing effect processor. You can take things such as this. Check this out. This is the ES1. Simple sawtooth waveform, right? Turn on Absynth as an effect on top of the ES1, and all of a sudden you can have things like, here's pulsing. If I bypass, even pulsation nirvana, I made it so that it's an effect. So you can get pulsing now with any of your favorite virtual instruments by calling this up. Go to performance of the sliders. Here's the up and down beats. So you can do that. You can do all sorts of cool, I did some mastering, kind of cool reverb thickeners, pad thickeners, like the Magic Cloud. Chords do that and pads do that. It's awesome stuff. And then at the end, I came up with some really cool, totally new stuff using tuned noise through envelopes and complex setups to make, so one note. So I'm playing, and it's doing nuts. So I expect you to do some cool stuff with this, okay? Darn it. Last thing I'm going to show you is drum loop. Here's a dubstep beat from the monstrous dub library that sell that sounds to sample. Let's run that through this is a drum slapback. For the sliders. some other examples. Distortion with rhythmic pulsing. Really cool. Drones. And then finally, I'm going to show you even the last thing I showed you, that chord thing, the noise jammer. That's drums going through it. This is the bass sequences. There's 3 different bass sequences. So you have to play with these. There's so much stuff to play with. And it's all there for you to create new things you've never heard before, nobody's ever heard before. Put them in your tracks. All right, so that's a pretty exhaustive overview of the Power Pack for Absynth 5. I'm John Skippy Limcool, and thanks for watching.